Okay guys, I'm going to try to make this as fast and painless as possible. So, Unit 5, Study Guide, we start by just cross multiplying. So 3 times x is 3x, and 2 times 15 is 30. And I divide by 3, and I divide by 3, and I get x equals 10. Nothing too crazy there. Starts to get a little bit more complex when I have 2 times x plus 2 equals 3 times 7. I guess I should just put that in parentheses. So I got to make sure I distribute. And I have 2x plus 4 equals 21. And then I've got to subtract the 4. Minus 4 minus 4. And I get 2x equals 17. All right, well, I divide by 2, and I divide by 2, and I get x equals 8.5. Okay, next up, I have, got a tickle in my throat. I have to multiply these two, which means I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a box and do the box method. It just kind of helps you guys keep things organized. So x times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x, negative 7 times x is negative 7x, and negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. I also have to multiply these, 12 times 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these like terms. So I'm going to have x squared x squared minus 3x minus 28 equals 12 times 15, which 12 times 15 is simply 180. So what I have to do is I have to get it equal to 0, because remember, I've talked about this, that when you see that x squared, start thinking, ooh, I've got to set it equal to 0, and I'm going to have to factor. This is a bigger one to factor, so I move this 180 over. Since it was positive, I subtract 180 and 180, and I end up with x squared minus 3x minus 208 equals 0. All right, so I'm going to factor. I'm going to bring my middle brother, negative 3 to the bottom and negative 208 to the top. This is a big one. It is negative 16 and a positive 13. So what you're going to do is you're going to have x minus 16 in one parenthesis and x plus 13 in another. Keep in mind it's equal to 0, so you need to finish solving. You'll have x minus 16 equals 0, and you'll add 16 and add 16 and get x equals 16. And you'll have x plus 13 equals 0, where you minus 13 and minus 13, and x equals negative 13. Okay, some of you guys still don't know your vocab, and at this point there's not much I can do to help you. You need to memorize it, and if you don't, then, well, it's going to be your loss. But complementary is 90 degrees. So 7x, because this is my ratio, plus, or my scale factor, equals 90. Right? I'm going to get 18x equals 90. I'm going to divide by 18 and divide by 18 and get x equals 5. But don't forget it's asking for the smaller angle. So I'm going to look and identify, hey, 7 is my smaller number. So I'm going to do 7 times 5. And I'm going to get 35. 35 degrees is my smaller angle. Okay, same thing here. The measures of the angles of a triangle. So if I have a triangle, all 3 of these angles, they add up to 180. So I'm going to do 8x plus 3x plus 4x all equals 180. Okay, so I'll combine like terms and get 15x equals 180 and divide by 15, and get x equals 12. This time it's asking for the largest angle, so I'm going to look for my largest number, which is 8, and do 12 times 8, and I will get 96 degrees. Moving right along, I have the ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle, the sides, not the angles. If the perimeter of the triangle, the sides all added together, is 130, find the measure of the shortest side. So same idea again. 9x plus 12x plus 5x equals 130. 26x equals 130, and I got 26, adding all of those together. And I divide by 26 and get x equals 5. So the shortest side, I look for my smallest number, and that would be 5 times 5, and I would get 25 feet. Okay, big thing here, this is inches, this is feet. You need to convert them both to inches. So I have 2 inches over 18 inches because 1 foot is 12 inches and half a foot is 6 inches. When I add those together, I get 18. And then remember to reduce, you guys. So 2 goes into itself once. 2 goes into 18 9 times. That is it for your first page. Moving right along. Dilate the point with a scale factor of 5/7. So that means I'm going to multiply both of these by 5/7. So 5/7 times 14. And you can think of it as 14 divided by 7 is 2 times 5 is 10. And then we'll do 5/7 times -7, which -7 divided by 7 is -1. -1 times 5 is -5. You can plug it into your calculator too. Okay, so my suggestion for you is to find all of these points. We did this as a review activity, so hopefully you guys kind of got the hang of it. So I'm going to go with R, S, U, and T, and my original point for R is going to be 1, 2. I went over one place and up 2. My original point for S is going to be 2, 3. My original point for U is 1, 0, and my original point for T is 3, 0. Now I have to multiply 2 by both of these points. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. 0 times 2 is 0. 3 times 2 is 6. And 0 times 2 is 0. It also says graph, which you guys forget to do on your test and you lose points. So now we're going to graph the new image. Over 2, up 4. That's my R prime. Over 4, up 6. That's my S prime. I'm going to just go ahead and connect those. Over 2, up 0. That's my U prime. And last but not least, over 6, up 0. And that's my T prime. So they overlap a little, which is fine. But yeah. Okay, So PRQ was dilated, so we went from here to here. What was the scale factor used to dilate the image? So keep in mind, this one that I'm shading in purple, this was our pre-image. This is where we started, this is where we finished. You can also tell because this has a dash. So it's getting bigger, so you need to think that K is going to be greater than 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my P prime point, and I'm going to see that it's over 3. So P prime is over 3 up 9. And I'm going to look at my original P, which is over 1 up 3. And I'm going to just, I could either do 3 over 1. 3 over 1 is simply 3. Or I could do 9 over 3, which is also 3. Anyway, simplifying that gives you your scale factor of 3. This triangle right here, our image, not our pre-image, our image is 3 times the size of this one. Okay, scale factor of A to B, that means we're going to figure out A is going to go on top, or if we're doing it with a colon, A would go here and B would go here. There is no indicator of, hey, this angle and this angle go together. So what you're going to do is you're going to compare your sides. I'm going to start with my smallest side or my largest side here. In this case, I'm going to do my largest because I just want to work with whole numbers, not decimals. So I'm going to do 36 and look for my largest here, which is 20. Okay, it will be easier to write it as a fraction. Those 36 over 20, they are both divisible by 4. So this is going to become 9, and 20 divided by 4 would become 5. So from figure A to figure B is going to be 9 over 5. Or if you wanted to write it as 9.9 ... or colon 5, that's fine also. Okay, so this time, find the scale factor of figure B to A. Figure B to A. So I'm going to start with this one on top, and I'm going to just start with my smallest side, all right, which is going to be 9. And I'm going to look for my smallest side over here, which is 12. Right? Yes, 12. Okay, I'm going to see that they're both divisible by 3. So this is going to be 3 over 4 because I'm going from figure B to figure A. So 3 over 4 or 3 colon 4. Okay, next up here, this one. Sorry guys, I'm trying to go fast but slow just so I don't mix you up or take too much of your time. Alright, I'm highlighting what corresponds to each other. Maybe you guys can see it. Maybe you can't. But hopefully this helps a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to put, this angle's not really marked, but there is a little bit of an angle right there. So I've just kind of marked it to give me some insight there. So the first thing that you want to figure out is your scale factor. And it doesn't tell you an order to go, so you can just pick a side. However, let's say I pick side 12. Well, that corresponds to my y, so that wouldn't really work, right? I need to pick a side that I know. I know this side right here, 4 and 6, because it's between the blue and the gray. It's between the blue and the gray, right? Or the 3 line and the no line. Or, yeah, 3 line. So I'm going to do 4 over 6 as my scale factor, and then I'm going to reduce it. They're both divisible by 2, and I get 2 over 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that 2 over 3 to solve for both x and y. Maybe I need to zoom out a tiny bit. Okay, so I'm going to look for where my y is. And since I started with 4 on top, which is this shape over here, I'm going to start with y on top. I have to. And then I'm going to look at the side that corresponds with y, and that's 12. I'm going to cross multiply like I've been doing. And cross multiply, I will get 3y equals 24. I'll divide by 3 and divide by 3 and get y equals 8. Okay, I use that same scale factor to solve for x. So now, using the same scale factor, 2 over 3, I go ahead and look where my x is. Oh, it's right here. It's going to go on top because, again, this 2 came from the 4, which came from this side, this left smaller shape. So I'm going to do x, and I see the x is between pink and gray, over 9. So again, I cross multiply, and cross multiply, I end up with 3x equals 18. Divide by 3, and x equals 6. Okay, so again, I'm going to color code for those of you who it helps. So these 2 liners, I'm going to just go ahead and put a bluish color, and this 1 liner a pinkish color. And then right here, my vertical angles, I'm just going to put purple. Okay, again, I need to find my scale factor. So let's go from right to left this time. This is between pink and purple, this 15, and 9 is between pink and purple. All right, I can't, to find my scale factor, I can't use this side and this side because one of them I don't know. So start with what you know. I'll do 15 over 9. All right, this side over this side. You can do 9 over 15. That's totally fine. I'm going to reduce by 3, and I'm going to get 5 over 3. So I know that my scale factor is 5 over 3. Okay, so now I'm going to take that 5 over 3, and I'm going to set it equal. Well, I want to solve for a first. So I have to put 12 on top this time. Because I started with 15, which is this shape, that means I have to do 12 on top. And I'm going to group it with a because they both are between the same colors. And again, I'm going to cross multiply. So 5a equals 36. Divide by 5, divide by 5. A equals 7.2. Okay, same thing now for b. Set up your scale factor, which is going to be 5 over 3. So I did 5 over 3, and now I'm going to start, I have to start with 10 on top. So 10 over b. I'll end up with 5b equals 30, and b equals 6. All right. Moving along, this will help you a lot if you mark up your figure. So a and b both come first. That means A and D as in dog. They match up. All right. B and E, they come second, so they match up. And last but not least, C and F, they match up. So first thing first, scale factor. Keep in mind, guys, right here, very specifically it says triangle ABC 2DEF. We have to start with this triangle right here on top. So I'm going to look at 27. I'm going to see, oh shoot, 27. That's between pink and gray. Ooh, that's a variable. I can't match that up to find my scale factor. Okay, 25. Ooh, that's between purple and gray. Ooh, that's also a variable. I can't use that to find my scale factor. So I have to start with 36 on top, which is between pink and purple, and 20, which is between pink and purple. All right, I'm going to reduce those. They're both divisible by 4. So this is going to be 9 over 5. So my scale factor is 9 over 5. Don't like when I write it like that. Like this. This gets a little confusing. Okay, so here's my scale factor. Now let's solve for x. So I'm going to do 9 over 5. I'll go ahead and write up here that we're solving for x equals, well, x has to go on the bottom, right? Because triangle ABC went on top, so we'll put x on the bottom, and we'll see that it's between pink and gray. So we'll look over here. 27 is between pink and gray. I'll go ahead and cross multiply, and I'll get 9x equals 135. Divide by 9, divide by 9. X will equal 15. Sorry, I had to turn on my automatic lights that keep turning off on me. All right, and let's try y. Okay, so same thing, scale factor. 9 over 5 equals y. So remember that our x had to go on the bottom because this smaller triangle DEF went on the bottom, so x goes on the bottom. Y, not x, y. And see that it's between a purple and a gray, which is 25.2. Well, we cross multiply, and we get 9y equals, all right, so 9y equals 126. I'm going to divide by 9 and divide by 9 and get y equals 14. Okay, so at a certain time of day, a 1.8 meter tall person, so 1.8 meter, is standing next to the Washington Monument. Okay, so here's the Washington Monument. We'll just make it like this. Okay, this person, standing next to the Washington Monument casts a 0.7 meter shadow. So 0.7 meter shadow. So they're 1.8 meters tall and they're casting a 0.7 meter shadow. At the same time, the Washington Monument casts a 65.8 meter shadow. We want to figure out how tall the Washington Monument is. So I'm just going to set up a proportion like we've been doing. X over 65.8 equals, since I started with the height, I'm sticking with the height, 1.8 over 0.7. I will cross multiply and get 0.7x equals 118.44 and divide by 0.7 and divide by 0.7 and get 169.2 meters. Whew, this is going to be a long video. It's a long study guide. And moving right along, to this one. Okay, we want to see if they're similar. So if so, we see that there's a vertical angle, right? And there's no parallel lines, so we wouldn't be able to tell if it's angle. So what we're hoping is that it's side, the angle, and side. So what I need to do is I'm going to take my smallest side, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to take 15 and put it over 12, so the sides of this triangle. And I'm going to reduce it or divide it and get 1.25. Let's just divide it. Okay, so 15 divided by 12. All right, and I'm going to do same thing, 24 over 16. and divide it, and I'm going to get 1.5. Ooh, those aren't similar. That's not the same number. So you don't even have to write a statement. You can just write not similar. All right, well, let's try this one. So first and foremost, oh, these are vertical angles. Ooh, these are parallel lines. Here's a transversal that cuts through. These would be alternate interior angles. Ooh, these would be alternate interior angles too, based off of this transversal. So by angle, even though we know that they have 3 congruent angles, we know that triangle PAS would be congruent to triangle F, because P and A are the angles that correspond, FAC. All right, so next up, I want to see, I know that if this is, that they only give me 3 sides, so it would have to be side, side, side. But we need to make sure that they all divide or reduce to the same thing. So I'm going to take my smallest side of 1, which is 8, and put it over my smallest side of the other, and I'll divide that, and I'll get 0.8. Okay, and then I'll take my medium size, 9, and put it over 11.25. I'll divide, and I'll get 0.8. Ooh, we just have one left to see. So 12 over 15, I'll divide and get 0.8. And then I'll match them up. ADF is similar, oh, I forgot the triangle on that one, to triangle. Well, A, which is right here, was between my smallest and my largest. So in that case, that would be R, which is between my smallest and my largest. So R. And then D, which is between my smallest and my medium, which would correspond with C. Whoops, don't know, forgot that one. And last but not least, angle B. Okay, so we have a triangle right here, and we have the whole triangle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and put 32 this side of the triangle, 32. I'm going to put it over 40. Okay, so 32 over 40. I got 40 by adding the entire side together. Okay, I'm going to divide that, and I'm going to get 0.8. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and take this whole side, 45. I'm going to minus 9, which will give me 36. So I'm going to take 36, and I'm going to put it over this whole side, 45. I'm going to divide, and I'm going to get 0.8. All right, keep in mind they share this angle. So what you know is you have a side that's proportional, an angle, and then another side. Side, angle, side. You have to be careful, guys, okay? Because we don't know that these are parallel to start. So I can't start by doing like 32 over 8 or 36 over 9. I have to look at each triangle as a whole. And ACE would correspond, ACE would correspond to B triangle BCD. All right, well, this one's a nice little freebie almost. We have 2 angles congruent, so angle, angle, how nice of them. And X, Y, so from one line to no line, so E, N, and then W. match what they tell you, and you'll know how to write your congruency statement. Whew, we're almost to the end. Okay, so right here, I'm just going to look at this triangle. I'm going to do x over 6 equals, and then this triangle, 24 over 8. I just want to reduce this because I'd rather not multiply huge numbers. They both go into 8. 24 goes in 3 times, 8 goes into itself once. So I'm left with x over 6 equals 3 over 1. That's 1x equals 18, or simply x equals 18. Okay, so now I see parallel lines, and I know that the sides are proportional. So I'm just going to do one side at a time. I'll even just start with 3x plus 1 over 10. So this bigger chunk over this littler chunk equals, follow that same order, bigger chunk, 7x minus 1 over 22. And we're going to cross multiply. So 22 times 3x plus 1 equals 10 times 7x minus 1. All right, we will distribute. Don't forget that you're distributing to both terms. So 66x plus 22 equals 70x minus 10. All right, I'm going to kind of simplify here. I'm going to move my x's to one side and my constants to another. So I'm going to end up with 32 equals 4x, and x equals 8. Okie doke. Last but not least, we kind of had one like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this side 8 over 12. All right, so 8 over 12. I'm going to reduce to start with. So they're both divisible by 4, which is going to give me 2/3. Okay, so I'm going to do 2/3 equals, well, I started with 8, which is this, so x, and then this whole segment, 24 minus x, which will be this piece right here, 24 minus x, right? That represents this piece. And then I'm going to cross multiply. So 2 times 24 minus x equals 3 times x. I'm going to distribute. I'm going to get 48x minus 48 minus 2x equals 3x. And then I'll add 3x and I will add 2x and add 2x, and I will get 48 equals 5x. And when I divide, which I need to do really quick right now, I will get 9.6. And, oh man, this is like the study guide that never ends. Okay, so find the perimeter at MNP. Well, first of all, we know that right here, if this is 41, then this has to be 82 because it's double. And if this is 38, then this has to be 76. All right, 38 plus 38 is 76. Now I need to figure out this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 times this segment, right, because this is half as much as this. So if I double it, then I can set it equal to that side. So 2 times 4x plus 1. Excuse me. I swear, something about my classroom. It must be the asbestos or something. Equals 11x minus 25. Okay, so I'm doubling this and setting it equal to that. That'll give me x, and then I'll plug my x in right here to solve. So 8x plus 2 equals 11x minus 25. All right, I'm going to subtract 8x, and that is going to give me 3x, and I'm going to add 25 and add 25 and get 27. 27 equals 3x. I will divide by 3 and divide by 3 and get x equals 9. But don't stop there, you guys, because we have to plug it in. So I'm going to do 11 times 9 minus 25. Well, that's going to be 99 minus 25, which 99 minus 20 would be 79, minus 5 would be 74. So this side, we now know, is 74. I'm going to pause you for a second while I blow my nose. Okay, so now that I know my three sides, I'm going to add them together. So 74 plus 76 plus 82, which is going to be 232. Whoops, 232. All right, moving right along. We are going to factor and solve. So this one, there's no GCF. There's only a 1 there, so I can jump straight into my x factor. All right, middle brother comes to the bottom, negative 60 on top. And what multiplies to negative 60, but then adds to a negative 7 would be negative 12 and 5. So I have x minus 12 and x plus 5 equals 0. I have to solve for each of these. X minus 12 equals 0, and x plus 5 equals 0. So I will add 12 and add 12, get x equals 12. And I will subtract 5 and subtract 5 and get x equals negative 5. Okay, now I've got a doozy on my hands. I need this equal to 0, so I'm going to add 36 and add 36. I will end up with 2x squared plus 18x plus 36 equals 0. I then need to look for a GCF, and ta-da! I have one, which is so nice. So I'm going to divide that out and get x squared plus 18x. Not 18x, 9x plus 18 equals 0. Now I can do my x factor. 9 goes to the bottom, 18 to the top. 6 times 3 multiplies to 18 but adds to 9. So I would have 2 parentheses x plus 6 parentheses x plus 3 equals 0. All right, regardless if I divide by 2 goes away, right? So that's gone when I'm solving for what x equals. So now I have x plus 6 equals 0 and x plus 3 equals 0. I subtract 6 and I get x equals negative 6. I subtract 3 and I get x equals negative 3. Last thing I need to do is simplify the radical here. So I need to get rid of this rad 6. I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by rad 6. I'll have 3 rad 6 over 2 rad 36, which the square root of 36 is 6. So I'm left with 3 rad 6 over 12 And I can simplify this. 3 goes into itself once. And it goes into 12 4 times. So you have rad 6 over 4. This is in a radical, so it can't be simplified. Even though these are both divisible by 2, think of this radical as its little protection. And that's your 40-minute long study guide video. You're welcome.